Fine. House renovation at Lower Milimani Estate. Letter of offer, completion certificates, inspection and acceptance certificates. You have reviewed those ones?
Yes, yeah, that has been provided and we have reviewed.
But there is an element, and this we must deal with, Governor. What was our recommendation in that column? Clerk, what was our recommendation? Because it was not just provision of documents. There was a recommendation to deal with non-provision of documents. So again, OAG, when you tell us it's closed, make sure that our recommendations have also been complied with. Because there is a part where we are asking for administrative action, and that does not seem to have been demonstrated.
Thank you, Chair. The first recommendation was that the Office of the County Governor undertakes administrative actions against the officers who failed to provide the documents to the auditors in accordance with Section 156 of the PFM Act, and they provide a status update to the committee within 60 days from adoption of the report.
Yeah, so Governor, that's part of what we are doing here. It is not just enough to say that the documents were presented, but it is an offense not to provide documents to the Auditor General during the audit without any valid reason. That's why we directed you to take administrative action. Administrative action could be a warning, could be a reprimand, could be a redeployment, or could be sacking. What have you done to comply with that recommendation of the committee?
Chair, thank you. Apart from actually providing the documentation, first business is that you call these people to explain to us why they had not submitted. But then when they are remorseful that indeed those documents, either they were misplaced and they are provided, you don't take that harsh action to punish them, as it were. Otherwise, the way structure of civil service, you will dismiss every person. You will be at war with every person.
No, administrative action does not mean sacking. When you came here on 24th of March 2025, those documents had still not been provided to the auditor. When the auditor was in Kisii between September and December 2024, the documents had not been provided. So why would you be soft about that? This process has timelines, which you are the governor who brought that matter very clearly before this committee, that the timelines must be respected. You remember the conversation we had. Why should we then be laissez-faire on members of staff who are not complying with the timelines?
Yeah, in addition, so that he can answer both
Senator
the
Arati.
indulgence, Governor Section 62 of the Public Audit Act is very clear that non-provision of documentation is violation of the law. So if you say you cannot be harsh or punished under administrative action, it is very unfair to the audit process, because the law in itself cascades from maybe transfer, administrative action, or even a possibility of a litigation. But on this instance, there is a clear violation of the law, and the only way to cure the law is to ensure there is a legal redress to that aspect. So our question is on these officers on non-provision of documentation. Has there been any action? Before even you fire, before you fire, there are many other mechanisms you can use before even firing. The firing should be the last stage. So why have you not complied with? Or should we punish you so that you can punish the rest? Thank you, Chair.
Chair, out of the discussion we had in the last meeting, and I'm up that OAG, they're here, and I'm sure they have done the audit. Out of the reprimand that we had pulled before these people, they must have provided documentation, even for the going forward. But again, I'm not very sure. There must have a number of those transfers we're talking about, they could be there, but I'm not sure. But the only thing I'm sure, after I read the riot gear, for sure, I'm sure that going forward, documentation has been provided on time to the auditors.
Chair, on a point of order, what do you mean, Governor? You read a riot act to your officers or to AAG? And is your county secretary here? Why is he not here, Chair? And it is through the correspondence between you, between your office, the official is the county secretary. And I thought, Governor, in any instance as the governor of Kisii, and you know you are my good friend, that everything should be written. Because if you said you read a riot act, maybe when you are walking out, you just read a riot act and then you leave it there. We need the action. Was after county secretary, was it written down so that it is implementable, so that they can refer to a particular circular, Chair? If you can give us that comfort, then we can move to the next action. Thank you, Chair.
Senator Wambo.
Thank you, Chair. I think the frustration that we find ourselves in is that there is a recommendation by the committee that the governor should undertake administrative action. Now, the only thing that this committee is asking for is just evidence of that action. That, yes, it is okay to reprimand, but then after reprimanding, there must be some evidence to show that action was taken against the officers. Why? Because these people failed to provide documents against the law. But when they are pushed a bit, the documents somehow appear. I mean, to me, that would even look like sabotage. And if they realize that the only thing that the governor can do is just tell us, you guys, you did a bad thing, but it's okay, you have provided the documents, then it gets even worse. So what evidence is there that there was a reprimand? And if it is not there, then just say it is not there, Chair. So we don't belabor this point.
Yeah, you know, Chair, apology is a parliamentary word. You can just apologize, then we move on to other issues.
Because the manner in which we respond to this will guide how we deal with the other issues. Remember, I said at the beginning that today we are dealing with the recommendations of the committee following the report that we tabled on 27th of March. So we must go back to that recommendation and ask ourselves that, did you do what the House resolved that you should do? In this case, the House resolved that you should take administrative action. Now, you should tell us whether that action was taken, but if action is taken in an executive role, it must be in writing.
Yeah, I'm sure that the action must have been taken. That's why AOG is saying that he...
Order, Chair. Point of order.
The OAG is only responding to the availability of documents.
Right.
The Senate is concerned about non-availability of the documents during the audit. When they become available after the audit, they could be cooked. And that would be another offense.
And in addition, Chair, if you say they might have, Governor, you are the governor of Kisii, you are the chief executive officer. When some critical decisions like administrative action are taken, you should be aware, unlike the presidency, the executive powers rest with the governor. And therefore, if there is any action that should have been taken, don't worry about your senator. I can see you are glancing at him. Don't worry about him. The issue I'm talking about is whether executive and governor, if you have written, just even if you didn't file then, if you have it with the officers, they can just give us, we give you, you are being a seasoned parliamentarian, you table, and then we go and review and come back to you. If it was not done, then you can apologize. We move to other issues, Governor.
Chair, for that document, I'll ask that we may provide it as and when available. Given there must have been, I want to say that they could have not acted out of just word of mouth. Therefore, Chairman, I want to say that I apologize. Sorry for this, but again, undertake that I will provide that document when it's available.
Look, Governor, we have dealt with a number of counties on this. There are counties that have come here with letters indicating designation of officers. There are counties that have come here with letters indicating warnings and reprimands. There are counties that have come here with a circular to all staff to take seriously the audit process. We cannot take it that it is somewhere and you will find it, because again it will be manufactured just to satisfy this query. I think we take great exception to that. Going forward, let's make sure that we are reading the recommendation of the committee and dealing with what the committee has recommended over and above what the Auditor General has brought up. You brought to the attention of this committee the need to pay fidelity to Article 229. If you expect us to be faithful to that article, you must also be faithful to that article. That article requires Parliament to put in its recommendations, and once it is adopted, it requires you to respond to the recommendations of Parliament.
Agreed, Chair.
Chair, let me just add something small on that. Two things. One, I remember, Governor, that the directive or the recommendation by the committee is to the Governor to take administrative action. And so it cannot be that document will be available if we get it. If it's not there, it's not there. Chair, there's something you said the other day. That administrative action, because we are here to learn, all of us are learning, that administrative action could actually even mean refresher training for your people, that they must understand the importance of providing documents when those documents are needed. That's also administrative action. Thank you, Chair.
Chair, maybe in addition, Governor, who signed off this? Are the people who signed off your financial statements? Governor, is the chair of audit committee here with us? And who signed off these financial statements? Are they here with us? The people who signed off the financial statement of this. The names are, sorry for Vincent Okioma Nyangwara. Why? He's the chief of South. Is he still chief of South Finance? Just on record, kindly, Governor. You're not on record.
He is. He is.
Why is he not with us?
There is a lean team that I came with, which accompanied me.
Chair,
Sign this. Let me finish. Just a minute, Onyonga.
I'm just giving you an addendum. I would want to know whether the officers who signed these documents are CPA accountants.
Yeah, I'm going there.
Thank you.
There, kindly. So, Vincent Okioma Nyangwara is not here
He's a chief officer.
of finance, but he signed off the financial statements. Who is the head of accounting unit without a name, but is part number 13733? What is his name?
Is not here, too.
What is his name? It's not on
Don Nyandani.
John Nyandanyi. Chair, I thought we made a ruling in the morning that if none of the signatories of financial statements are not here with us, how would we proceed? This is very unique. Governor, did you absent them strategically? I thought the gentleman, there is a gentleman of public works, another gentleman I've heard. Were they important more than the people who understand these financial statements, because they are more needed than the rest?
Chair, it's not that I absent them strategically, is that we are on the close of the financial year. There is a lot of, back and forth in clearing of those documentation. And because this was a follow-up on the discussion we had, I didn't see that I was to come with them. But again, the gentlemen who are around, they have their specific questions they're going to answer here, where they are liable.
But Governor, Chair, maybe I'll need a ruling on this, because you had made a ruling in the morning when CI appeared. This is a unique situation where the people who signed off financial statements are not here with us. Well, I agree, Governor, although your deem is not gender balanced, well, I agree that there is issues because we are coming to the end of financial year. I agree with you. But it shows that you don't take serious the importance of this process. Because these are the people who generated your financial statements, and all of them stem in our so Chair, can as a committee give direction so that, if the people who signed this, and Governor, in any case, are you aware whether Vincent Okioma Nyangwara is an ISPAC member by any chance?
This is a chief officer. He may not be.
He doesn't. He's not a
He
NISPAC
doesn't,
member.
you know,
So
it's not-
Nyandanyi is the
Nyandanyi
only one.
is-
Is it the guy who had international relations at our last meeting? He's still the chief officer?
He
Finance.
is.
The IR guy.
Oh, he's an international relations guy.
Yeah.
So he should be bridging international relations between China and Kenya.
Where
Not a
China-
chief officer. Or the British
Yeah,
chair.
well, those relations are international unless you want to read more than what is apparent. Members, let's make progress.
Can you rule chair before we
We
proceed?
said that the clerks of Parliament, in our invitation, will make it explicit that part of the delegation accompanying the CEO should be the signatories to the financial statements, the chair of the county audit committee, as well as the secretary of the audit committee. And the secretary of the audit committee is the internal auditor, beside the chair of the public accounts committee. We want to have the right people in the room so that we can have a comprehensive conversation. So members, let's take note that whereas the OAG says that the documents have been provided, the county has not demonstrated any effort to implement the recommendation of the committee to reprimand or to take administrative action on the officers. We shall render our report and take it to the House because the Public Audit Act says that anyone who fails to implement the recommendations of the committee without providing a good cause, I think there's a way it's framed. Does it say he commits an offense or can be found to be in contempt of Parliament? And the committee may propose certain administrative action. Actually, that's where the law gives us the power as Parliament to make HR-related decisions. You fail to take, and I think it's important to read that provision. Mark Gashanja had read it the other day. Malcolm.
Chair, as Malcolm reads, I think you were busy consulting. The governor was on record to apologize, so you can factor in before making that ruling. Because he apologized for that oversight so that you add other rule. Thank you.
Okay. Yes, proceed. Read that provision.
The chair will read implementation, section 53 of the Public Audit Act, implementation of reports by an accounting officer. Subsection 1, the relevant accounting officer of a state organ or public entity shall within 3 months after Parliament has considered and made recommendations on the audit report, A, take the relevant steps to implement the recommendations of Parliament on the report of the Auditor General, or B, give explanations in writing to the Parliament on why the report has not been acted upon. Subsection 2, failure to comply with the provisions of subsection 1, the accounting officer shall be in contempt of Parliament or County Assembly, and upon determination by Parliament or relevant County Assembly, Parliament or the relevant County Assembly may recommend administrative sanctions such as removal of the accounting officer, a reduction in rank, among others.
I think when we are doing a report, we shall refer to that provision of the law and make the necessary
But Chair,
recommendation.
because we are still within the 3 months, and given that the governor could still be ready to render some administrative action, is it then possible to give them some few days to act, or at the lapse of before we do the report writing? Or if they don't within the 3 months, then we take that part, that direction we take.
Chair, point of order. He has already pronounced himself.
I think, honourable members, let's refer to that provision. We can have this conversation when you're making our recommendations to the House. Governor?
Chair, again, I want to agree with what Senator Maluma just mentioned.
No, if you are reopening my ruling, then that will not be allowed.
Chair, it's not opening.
I think let's leave it at that point.
Yes, I wanted to inform you that, again, as we are appearing before you, we're within the 3 months that you gave us. Therefore, if I will indulge you, that if it's possible, there any other
Point of order,
response.
Chair. The governor does not have power to indulge you. Is the opposite way.
Governor, these are very small matter. We have much bigger issues in this report. Let's leave that matter where it is. It is within, not after. So within could mean the first day, or it could mean the last day. And in any case, our resolution was made on 27th of March. Even if you are talking of after 3 months, that you'll remain with only three or 4 days to get there. So let's leave this matter to the wisdom of the committee so that we deal with far weightier issues on this report. OAG, the third issue that we're ticking off.
Chair, that's page 27, issue number 32, delayed alteration and renovation to the governor's office at Old Municipal Building. Again, this is complete. We have seen the completion certificate. The building is currently in use.
Same observation, Auditor General. You did not refer to our recommendation in marking the matter as closed. Is there evidence of administrative action taken against the officers?
Chair, no, there is no evidence in terms of administrative action that has been taken.
Governor, despite provision of the documents, how did you deal with the delayed submission of documentation as per our committee recommendation?
Chair, again, is the same approach. I want to say that, again, I will apologize on the point of not providing documentation showing that there was an action, administrative action taken to my people. But I want to say they are there.
So, OAG, the work is complete. At least as far as effectiveness is concerned, we can tick.
Yes, Chair.
So,
the work is complete. And
so the issue could just be the lawfulness aspect.
The delay part of it, that's what the audit has really raised. Is the project has been delayed.
Yeah,
That's
part of the lawfulness,
yes,
because
yes.
if the Public Audit Act requires the entity to do something and they don't do, so you can say you have ticked it for effectiveness, but not necessarily for lawfulness. You are required to report on effectiveness and lawfulness of public expenditure. Delayed alteration and renovation could point to both. But now you are telling us it is complete. So it is effective. There is value for money.
Yes.
But lawfulness, there is some breach of the law somewhere because the documentation was not provided when required as per the Public Audit Act. Are we on the same page, Dr.
Yes, yes.
Fine. So we shall also deal with this as we had recommended on the other one, perhaps refer to Section 51 of the Public Audit Act and maybe find the accounting officers to be in breach and contempt of Parliament. Next, resolved issue.
Chair, I think those are the 4 issues that have been resolved.
So those are 4.
Yeah.
So when you made your report on 31st of December, there were 64 issues. When the county appeared before us on when we sent our report to the House on 27th of March, we had 52 issues. And today, on 23rd of June, we have 48 issues outstanding. It means how many have been resolved so far? 16. We have 16 issues resolved from the initial 64 in the audit certificate to the 48 remaining here. OAG, is that the case?
Correct, Chair. That's the position.
So the question is, how do we deal with these 48 issues? Do we conduct an audit here? Or we direct the Auditor General to subject them to comprehensive scrutiny in the next audit cycle? Now, in terms of best practice corporate governance, that's what usually happens, that when the entity is unable to explain something, either the committee pronounces itself and puts in place sanctions, or it allows the auditor to report on them in the next audit cycle as prior year issues. We have had a lengthy discussion as a committee, and we have generally resolved that most of these unresolved issues should form part of the next audit cycle. However, there are certain issues that are so significant that we must pay attention to them, even if they are still going to be referred to the next audit cycle. And I think the elephant in the room is a wage bill. So, Auditor General, let's go to your finding on the wage bill, and then let's see how the county has responded and what measures are being taken to deal with that.
Small request, Chair.
Yes, Senator?
If you go to the report on the Senate County Public Accounts Committee on their report, the basis that gave the qualified opinion, I would really wish to you that we follow this structure, because you have each and every item which has been raised, and those which have been answered, I think you've talked about them. Those you are not, we then run through them. If there is no explanation and all that, then we make the recommendations. In other words, I feel like we are scattering too much all over the place, and yet we have a report here which has been given by the Auditor General on each and every item. I'd rather we go through each and every item according to your recommendations in terms of the ones which are critical, but the ones which you're feeling that the issues can be discussed later after he has done an extra audit, then I would recommend that we look at it that way. I don't know what you feel about it.
I understand where the senator is coming from, but this particular year we did things a bit differently, because traditionally what you have suggested is what we have always done, because it's the first time we are getting the responses of the county on the issues raised by the Auditor General. Now this year, and I'd explained it earlier, that whatever we did this year does not seem to deliver value. We must change the system in the next year. This year we allowed self-reporting by the entities. We allowed them to send written responses. Then we analyzed the written responses and made recommendations. And then the House agreed with our recommendations. Today, we want to find out whether our recommendations were implemented. Already, the Auditor General has done an assessment. So, for example, on unexplained voided transactions, the OAG has told us it has not been addressed.
Chair, I'm with you. Now you are okay.
Yes.
Now I'm where you are.
So in the past, we would go to the issue and open it up and go to the supporting schedules and perhaps do an audit. We realized that it was not the best use of this committee. So I just want to persuade you that whatever we have here has already been processed and taken to the House. And the auditor has done a verification. If the auditor says it is not addressed, I do not think that there's any convincing that the governor can do to tell us that it is addressed. So the remaining 48 issues remain unresolved and to be carried in the subsequent audit. But there is an issue which recurs, I think it's in 4, 5, 6, 7 different paragraphs: compensation of employees, irregular recruitment, wage bill, and lack of fiscal responsibility. I think we owe the people of Kisii an explanation as to why your wage bill is at 68%. The rest of the transactional issues, interest, lack of documents, unsupported expenditure, if the auditor says it is unsupported, it is unsupported. There's nothing we can do about it. And when we are writing our report, we will just make recommendations for investigations and prosecution.
And for
Senator
the
Maruma.
comfort of the senator, if an issue is not addressed, then in the next audit report, it would appear well enumerated to the end, so it will not get lost.
I am actually agreeing with you. In other words, I had not got, when we had the pre-meeting, chairman said that whatever that has already been concluded, we leave it alone. So my suggestion is proceed, sir.
Correct.
I am comfortable.
And just to buttress this, I know we have been in this committee. In the past, the auditor used to have just one paragraph saying prior year issues. We have agreed with the auditor that all these 48 must appear in the next audit report. In fact, we'll have a very long audit report because it will have prior year issues outstanding plus the issues that are recurring in the subsequent year. Members, are we on the same page? Governor, are we aligned, or you want us to go the route of counting cents and coins?
I think we're in agreement, Chairman.
Fine. So why don't we look at the issue of wage bill, that finding, because it's going to bring together a number of other related issues. Auditor General, what was your observation on wage bill?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. This is paragraph 2 of non-compliance with the fiscal responsibility principles. 2.1 was development expenditure, but 2.2 is wage bill. The statement of the receipt and the payments reflect a compensation of the employees amounting to Kenya shilling 5,647,519,403, representing 68% of the county executive total revenue for the year of Kenya shilling 8,284,558,775. This was contrary to Regulation 25(1) and A of the Public Finance Management County Government Regulation 2015, which provide that the county government expenditures on the wage bill and the benefits shall not exceed that 5% of the county government's total revenue. In the circumstances, the management was in breach of the law.
Clerk of the Senate, what was our recommendation?
Thank you, Chair. The first recommendation was that the management should strictly adhere to the provisions of paragraph 25, 1B of the PFM County Government Regulations 2015, which stipulates that the county wage bill shall not exceed 35% of the county's total revenue. And recommendation number 2 was that the county executive puts in place measures to enhance its own source revenue collection to address the high wage bill gap. Thank you, Chair.
Governor, what action have you taken?
Chair, as I will read the action that you have taken, but bearing in mind, Mr. Chairman, that this is a problem, it's a perennial problem that we have found in office, and we are trying gradually to see how we sort it out. Earlier, we were discussing about what we have addressed on issues of wage bill, on ECD teachers. You realize that we are talking of minimum wage, where we are earning 12,000. Therefore, now the wage bill has to go up.
Governor, it's a good explanation, but let's start by looking at your response on record, and then after that you can make the explanation.
Chair, what we have done is the county government.
It's on page what of your
page
response?
8 of 46.
Okay, members, I hope you're there. You may proceed.
Chairman, the county government to put measures to curb the increase of wage bill. The county government aimed to increase its own source revenue and diversify revenue inflows, including funds from alcohol fund, facility improvement fund in the forward budget. This was not there before. We were not declaring that money. But now, going forward, we have factored in the forward budget, Mr. Chairman.
So, Governor, you have recited what we recommended. What we needed was your action, your demonstrable action. And this is not a matter that is new to us, because we have previously invited you to discuss the issue of employees. You are on public record. We take judicial notice that you made some very dramatic, you took some very dramatic action upon assumption of office on this matter. And I think many people thought that it was the right thing to do. Now the question is whether it is delivering the right results. So we would have expected that we'll get more of what have you done. You told us about a task force. You told us about frustrations with the Public Service Board. At our last meeting here, you didn't have a substantive chair and a secretary to the County Public Service Board. You know, specific, measurable, realistic and time-bound action. What you are put here, or what your officers are put here, is a political statement.
Chair, it could not be a political because we have already factored in, especially the FIF fund into forward budget, which was not the case, Mr. Chairman. We have brought in the level 5 hospital, which was not being, which was not there before. We have brought it into the forward budget again. Chair, the question of the chairman, the secretary of the board, we have them in place, actually they're in the office. But Mr. Chairman, out of the audits, yes, which we pronounce ourselves, I want to indicate clearly a number of people who, were moved from the payroll. But that one doesn't mean that that figure was to come down, because again, what happened is that we enhanced improvement of the salaries of the ECD teachers, who are totalizing to 900 of them. There may be no much significant figures that you'll be able to see there, but we have been able to, because we have curbed issues of employment, as it were. But Mr. Chairman, I want to just to let you know that this percentage may go to 73 or 74.
Now, you can't sit in the Senate and tell us that all the money we are fighting for, because you know the fight we are putting up, that when it lands in Kisii, the governor is promising that 73% of it is going to go to salaries. That we cannot take without challenge.
Chair.
Now, Governor, the problem you have is that you have very good oral explanations, but there is nothing on record. Later on, when you're writing our report, it is this brief statement that we'll be referring to. Why can't you put those measures in writing to guide the Senate? You have said the county government to put in measures to curb the increase of wage bill. What are the measures? Can they be listed? Can they be proven? When you explain, you tell them, but on paper, there is nothing. I hope you're understanding my frustration, that your explanation is different from what's on paper.
Chair, I don't know how you get it, and this is important. Agree with you to some extent, but when we just indicated there that we have brought in the issues of the FIF account, which was not there before, we have increased our own source revenue. That part of the answers, Mr. Chairman. But a bit of this, because if you asked and you brought
So
it up.
by so doing, you have moved from 60% to what percentage? Because Auditor General, you must also give us guidance. This ratio is not 60%. It is 68%. It's very important that you go on record to amend your finding. Please.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. In terms of the records, we are able to do the computation, and the actual percentage is 68.
If you brought in the on-source revenue, which the governor says is supposed to help him, the on-source revenue was 501 million.
And actually announcing bringing in the FIF account and the KTRH.
So if you did that, if we just dealt with what is before us, 501, it's still at 64%. So you should tell us that by bringing in the other funds, now your ratio has moved from 68 to 35. That's for you to tell the Senate.
Chair, we may not get to that 5. I want to promise the Senate.
No, but what have the measures achieved? Because you are threatening that it will go to 78. You can't have measures that increase the percentage.
Chair.
We could benefit from Senator Onyonka first.
Thank you, Chair. Your Excellency, Governor Simba Arati, the matter we are discussing here is, I think, Chair, different from what the Governor is saying. I don't know whether all of you are carefully looking at what this issue is. The issue is not whether there is money for the Governor to employ people either by increasing their promotional wages or whatever it is. The question that you are discussing, and I think, Chair, you've not been clear on this one. Governor, the issue we are dealing with is this. Have you employed people since you became Governor beyond the level that the government allows for you to employ? I would have been very comfortable for you to explain to this committee that when you came in as Governor, you find the percentage of wage bill which relevant to the expenditure on development and vis-a-vis your wages for the county employees of Kisii County, what this report shows is that you've actually increased the employing of workers in Kisii County, and their wages have increased beyond the original figure, which was at 41%, and now you are at 68%. That is point number one. You've rationalized by saying, according to you, you have the money to pay for the salaries. That's not what we are asking. Where is your money for development? The FIF account and all the money that you are bringing in here, this is supposed to be development money. It's only that because if you assume that you're going to employ nurses, then the FIF allows you to use these resources to actually employ nurses. The people that you have compensated on the salaries are the ECD teachers. So what this committee, I believe, is trying to ask you to do is this. Have you increased the number of people that you've employed since 2 years ago? That's number one. Number two, if you continue with the other same issue, it is also related, then the auditors came up and said you have been underpaying staff, which you have sorted out, and I'm very, very happy. I actually want to thank you. But then as you continue, you then reach a stage where, Chair, on page 11 of 43, you are irregularly employing people within the county government, and this could have been either your public service board or your officers. The question then anybody would ask is this: is this the case? And how many people have you employed? And when did you employ them? And what are they earning? That is what I would want you to explain to this committee. Thank you, Chair.
Okay. Take note of the questions.
Chair.
Senator Chirarge, then Senator Wambua.
Governor, note that what we are querying here is an affront to the law. The law says you should not go beyond 35%, but you are in 68%. So our concern is the cure of the law is the legal redress. What have you taken steps that will not violate this law? Number two, Governor, Nairobi, which receives the most share, and I'm happy you have been a member of parliament of Dagoretti North, and of course you are familiar with Nairobi. Their wage bill is at 56%. What justification would you give that Kisii, which receives more lower revenue, is being turned to Employment Bureau through 68%? Number three, Governor, the last time you appeared, you said the secretary to the County Public Service Board of Kisii and chairman of Kisii County Public Service Board were not in office. Who participated in putting in place this number of workers? And finally, Governor, we saw you dramatically parading what you termed then as ghost workers, and you went ahead and showed that they were drivers, but they were no vehicles. What became of that process? Do you have a report that was done by your executive or an audit to show whether there was an affront? Because then it was 41%, but now we are discussing at 68%. So was there any report that human resource audit was either done by your office or the county public service? What became of it? Let me just a simple, what became of it after in Kisii Stadium, you put everybody, you were telling the country, there is a car, but it has 4 or 3 drivers. What became of it? And finally, since you became the governor, and I was among the people we used to take lunch at Bunge restaurant, and we used to pray for you daily, how many people have you employed as a governor, Simba Arati? Leave alone, I have heard you when you're answering, you're saying it was there. Leave alone the issue of the former governor Ongwae. How many people have you hired outside your personal staff? I know the law allows you to get a PA, to get advisors, to get CEC, because those ones don't have, they expire with the governor. So how many? And in this, so that I don't need to come back, the fifth question, in this through the chair, how many are casuals and how many are being transited to PNP? Marking you governor, you know there is a sticky issue of universal health coverage. So I want to thank you for being honest, because if you observed the UHC workers, then you'll reach 78%, as you have said. So thank you for being honest with that. But how many are casuals and how many have been transited to PNP, and whether all of them are paid either through payment voucher or IPPD? I submit here and I thank you.
Thank you. You have asked all the questions, but Senator Wambua still has one.
I don't know what to ask now, Chair, but I think the question, no, it's okay, no problem. So, there are two issues here. Let me first go on, the governor is consulting, so I need, okay, that's fine. So let it go on record from you, Governor, that it's actually true that when you came in, you found 41%, and then you pushed it to 68%. I'll tell you this. During our briefing, everybody here, including myself, was shocked that actually you could have a county that spends 68% of its revenue paying salaries. Secondly, if you're already coming in at 41%, frankly speaking, you have to be within the law. Then just tells you one thing: you cannot even employ one person. You should be looking for ways of either increasing your revenue base or reducing the number of staff. So what have you done? If you found at 41, what did you do to comply with that 5%? And lastly, I see one of the actions that you are making reference to is you are bringing in the FIF and the alcoholic fund. My question would be, how much money are you going to be getting from KTRH? And what will be the impact of that revenue to your base? And how will that help you in reducing the wage bill towards 35%? I thank you, Chair.
Finally, the Vice Chair.
Yeah, it's just the same question that is being canvassed, because then the governor has indicated that the county government to put in place measures to curb the increase in wage bill, and you have enumerated them here. Now, how do you want us to treat this paragraph? Because in your own statement, you are saying the wage bill is likely to go up to 43%. Do we expurge this paragraph?
43 or 78?
He's saying 73. I had 73.
73. 78.
78.
Yeah.
So do you want us to expurge this, that these measures, after all, are not fashioned to reduce the wage bill? And number two, when it goes to 78, really, and you have 11% maybe given by CARA to the county assembly, what do you remain with for development? And out of these measures, Chair, why aren't we seeing something to do with staff rationalization? Or does it mean the staff that were inherited from the former local authorities are not part of this problem?
Senator Gatai.
Thank you, Chair. My good friend Governor Arati started on a very high note. I remember Governor Arati was weeding out ghost workers in Kisii County. It was all over the news. I don't know. We expected the wage bill to be corrected, to be within the standards. So I don't know what happened, that exercise you really undertook never materialized, because you were doing very well those times when you were all over trying to parading cars and trying to hand counties drivers and so forth. So was that an exercise in futility, or was it something that was supposed to be reasonable?
Okay, Governor, you may respond, also taking into account that on 22nd of May 2023 at the KICC Shimba Hill Hall, we had a detailed conversation on this particular matter, where you told us about the task forces and the measures that you are taking. And I would have really expected that the conversation we had in 2023 would form part of the update you are giving us on measures taken. But many questions have been asked by members. Please proceed, starting with Senator Nyonka.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Chairman, I don't know, from the onset I wanted to know, where did you get your figures of 41? Who informed you? That must have questioned the pre-meeting. I want to say I got the wage bill at 68. I've not moved from 68. Nothing far from the truth. Chairman, the only people that I've employed, the people I've employed directly, and it's not even employment, it's replacement, is 48 people. Those are chief officers, CCs, and advisors. I've not employed anybody.
Point of order, Chair.
Mr. Chairman.
So when the governor says he found it at 68 and it's still 68, yet because I had to say he has employed 48, don't you think it changes the dynamics?
Chair, I want Senator Chergey to get it very clear that I've not employed. The only thing I've done is replacing the people that I found, those positions which were occupied then, chief officers and CCs. Mr. Chairman, the only thing I've done, the promotion, the people who are due for promotion, yes, they have been promoted. Mr. Chairman, the people who are being paid 12,000, they are the only people who have been put into permanent and pensionable, and they are earning the 25 shillings, 25,000. Chair, the story of 41, somebody must be doing his own politics, wherever from which.
I think for 41, let us go by the numbers. We'll be able to go to the financial statements. We will see what the numbers reflect. But what the numbers reflect here is that last year you were at 62%. And then this year you're at 68%. Those are the numbers in your financial statement. So figures don't lie.
Chair, again, I want to say clearly, I've not employed. I've only done replacement. And that's all. Chair, the only anticipation that I want to make here is that I'm going to employ, yes. Hospitals, they don't have nurses. They don't have clinicians. They don't have doctors. What I've factored in the budget, I'm going to employ close to 300 nurses. We lack around 700. I'll do a half. ECD teachers, Mr. Chairman, as I'm just saying, parents, they have employed on their own to bridge the gap. Therefore, I'm going again to employ around 200 teachers. That's the only people that I may bring into the service. As at the moment, Mr. Chairman, I've not employed even one person. Other than my staff, again, the former governor had that staff, Mr. Chairman, the CCs, chief officers, advisors, those are the people who are in the office. And I wanted to make it very clear on that point.
Allow me.
Okay, Senator Wambua, then
Allow me, because Chair, I will be asking for permission to exit. But before I do that, so what I'm hearing from a governor is that in this coming financial year, he will be recruiting around 500 people. If you're already at 68, then only then the county government knows where that will leave the wage bill. Unless then they will be employing and at the same time sacking. I don't know. The governor, this is a serious issue. I don't know what. I was actually, before you came in, and this is a point that I'll make and then I will exit. I was wondering, how do county governments then deal with these things? You have this number of people who are already above the threshold, but you have to build new hospitals, which you need doctors. You have to build new ECD centers, which will need teachers. You establish new water projects, who will need people to man. So what are you doing? It's your challenge. You are the governor, you are the CEO. That 500, where will it leave you?
Senator Chiraki.
In addition, Governor, you know it's a learning curve, and you know you are a man I have tremendous respect for, and you are my good friend. Governor, looking at your, and I really wondered who is the receiver of revenue, because
Chair, ask Governor Wambua, of course, Senator Wambua to leave just for the response. that I will give so that
Which version are you going with, Governor or Senator?
Or Senator.
Okay,
Let
Senator,
me quickly
prosecute
shoot-
quickly
let me
so that
shoot-
the
shoot.
Governor may respond.
You know, Governor, they say numbers don't lie, other things can lie. You said in your answer that your own source of revenue had improved. According to your receiver of revenue in your own chair, in the financial year 2023-2024, you collected 415 million. In this year under consideration, you collected 502.4 million. That's an increment of 85 million. If you go to your financial statement, which Vincent Nyangwara and Nyandiani signed, is compensation of employees. In 2022-2023, it was 5.0 billion. In 2023-2024, there was an increment of 600 million. Governor, that's not a small number. It means the number of people that gather for this compensation was about 600 million. So even if there is an increment of 6%, this is too huge number, Chair. So the justification is when you want to go with the aspect of improving on source revenue, you only increase 85 million. Vis-a-vis 600 million, which he was trying to bridge the gap by saying I have improved on my own source revenue, to gap for 600 million, which was for compensation of employees within the year under. So, Governor, what is the silver bullet? That is what you are just looking for. Because on source revenue, and maybe Salat, what is the revenue potential through the chair under CRA of Kisii County? Thank you, Chair.
Through the church, according to CRA, the revenue potential for Kisii County is estimated as 1.5 billion. So they are collecting a third of their revenue potential.
We'll come to that because I have some observations on that on the ROR. But Senator,
Very, very brief. The point I wanted to make is that I'm actually in the dark. I wish I had a way of knowing. Chair, I would wish Governor, if he can, to come out and explain. He conducted 2 audits. One was done by some team from the Public Service Commission or something. The second audit was done by, I think, a team that he appointed or something. As I sit here as a senator of Kisii County, I actually do not know even the total number of employees that the county government has employed up to now. So even when Governor is telling me that according to him, he only employed 47 individuals, I would want to make a recommendation, Chair, through your committee, that that report is tabled so that then once Governor explains that he has not employed and the numbers are known, then we shelve that matter. Otherwise, without that audit, the matter stayed standing over generally.
okay, Governor.
Chair, let me answer Senator Wambua. The dilemma we are in is the dilemma that we are staring at, all of us. I found an office at 67 or 68, as it were. Another story, it's not far from the truth, is that we found ourselves there. Development, it was below 18, Mr. Chairman. That's how things are. Even as we are working hard to do development, we could not. And Mr. Chair, you know the problem? The problem is that all the people who are employed, they are those lower cadres, not technical team. Doctors, they were not employed, nurses. Therefore, we have more drivers. We were not doing a cosmetic dress in the stadium. Those are real stories. We went ahead, Mr. Chairman, we did the audit on certificates, fixed certificates. A number of people have gone home. Today we were at IPEC. I thank that the Deputy President said they followed what Kisii did on verification of pending bills and on certificates. Chairman, is a tall order, but we are there. We are trying to limit ourselves to the resources that we have. And I want to repeat myself on answer here. I've not employed more than 48 people directly, and not even employment, Mr. Chairman, replacing those who are holding office. The only employment I'm intending to do is for the nurses and the teachers. Actually, they're close to 500. That's how serious I am. I can't preach of the water and drink the wine as it could be.
You know, Governor, we must draw the line. There are things you can do as a chief executive officer, tactical and operational decisions. It is not for the Senate to get into that. Ours is at the strategic and policy level. The law requires you to be at 35, you are at 68. Double. I mean, there is sometimes a level of tolerance. If you are at 37, I would say, this is okay, you're a work in progress. If you are at 40, we would say, fine, we believe if you grow your revenue base, it's going to change. But you're at 68, threatening to go to 78. Threatening to go to 73. Why should the Senate continue sending money to Kisii? Especially if that money is going to a black hole. We are not questioning, and perhaps I don't want to dwell on that. Of course, I'll give it a benefit of doubt. The people you hired when you got to office. But are you sure of the people you found in office are actual workers? You did an exercise, but that exercise is not yielding the results. You see, that's our frustration. You did a much publicized exercise. Has that exercise resulted in any reduction by a percentage or two of your wage bill?
Chair, I want to believe with the record we have, there could have been a reduction. But that reduction again, we are talking of underpaying, and we must be able to get to the minimum wage bill threshold.
Governor, is your county secretary in the room?
No, he's not.
County secretary?
He's not in.
CEC, finance?
Yes.
CEC, finance.
I am Chair.
The measures that the governor took under his political and strategic direction, what has been the impact on the balance sheet? Talk to us numbers. Let the governor talk policy and politics. He's giving us a lot of politics. Give us numbers. What has been the impact of the governor's policies and politics on the bottom line?
Chair, I will not be able to give you straight
Why?
that answer.
Can't you reflect on your role as CEC Finance as the person who verifies and assures that these financial statements are well rendered?
Chair, I do, and I did that, and of course the same has been done, that we had an increment of 600 as per our financial statement.
So the political and policy measures of the governor have resulted to an increase of 600 million rather than a reduction.
Yes, Chair, as per our financial statement which we conducted.
In other words, the political and policy interventions of the governor have been bure kabisa.
No, Chair.
But so demonstrate to us, as a person who's responsible for these numbers, a relationship between those policy and political initiatives and the financials. Chairman, there has to be a relationship, either proportional or inverse.
Chairman, let me say this, that for these figures, we can ask time to provide all those figures that you're asking for. But more remedies we are putting in places to control the resources as they were, increase our own source revenue. I'm happy is talking about 1.5.
Chair, on a point of order, to be fair, governor numbers don't lie. You only raise 85 million
No.
in your receiver of revenue, and you are increasing 600. And in fact, Chair, I have gone through the report that of the OAG. The total number of staff in Kisii is 5,570 employees. So what is the staff establishment based on that also in Kisii County? Vis-a-vis your own, even is the receiver through the chair is RORE, a receiver of revenue. because you have only increased 85 million. You want to hire 500. It is good to give, and I hope you'll give a number of young people those jobs, the nurses and EC teachers, which is good. But our argument is that this increment of 600 million, there is no principality and justification. And you can see your CEC of finance, who should be assisting, is eating mdomo yake. Anakula mdomo hapa. And you are comfortable sitting with him. In fact, you should sit far from that gentleman. He will lead you to a lot of problems. So this staff establishment of 5570, what is the staff? And that is why, Chair, at the beginning, I asked, now that the Vice Chair is chairing, I asked, where is the County Secretary? Because if your County Secretary was here, in fact, you would have been safer with County Secretary than this gentleman. Because unless they fear you, Governor, do these people fear you?
That governor can answer both.
Chair, through the chair, because if they are fearful in answering our questions, then it means they are fearing you.
No, Chair. I don't. That's right, Chair. Let me answer the questions that have been asked.
Yeah.
Okay, let's allow the Vice Chair just to, maybe he might help clarify things.
You can answer both. What we are wondering as a committee is there's an exercise that you did ostensibly to do some staff rationalization. How many people or employees dropped off as a result of them being ghost workers, as a result of them not having the requisite qualifications? How many dropped off, and what was the wage implication in terms of reduction? The other thing that you did was making sure that you pay the employees as per the regulations. What was the impact on the wage? Is it the 600 million that we are seeing? We need those numbers, really, we need them. Otherwise, then when you're counting people and dropping them off, and then the wage bill is going up, it doesn't, the numbers don't add.
Chair, and in addition, when you look at the audit report, Governor, you didn't have a staff establishment. So as you answer that on myself and Vice Chair, have you put in place the approved staff establishment of that 5570 employees, which is consuming around 68% of equitable share revenue that we are sending? Thank you, Chair.
Chair, I want to say that the staff establishment we have put it in place as we are talking at the moment. Therefore, as and when is required, we will definitely give it. Again, Mr. Chairman, on the numbers that of the people.
Chair, on a point of order, this staff establishment, Governor, in our committee recommendation, you have not provided evidence of the same. Is it here with us?
I'm saying it's going to be provided, Chairman, and it could not be inside there.
This bundle that is looking so beautiful and well marked, it is not here.
No, there is more information inside that than that
Governor,
one.
you thought senators are busy, they can't read?
No. You see, there is more information there, Chairman. Senator Sergey, there is more information, more materials inside there other than that one which is missing again.
Governor, through the chair, we are discussing 68% of your revenue. This is a so serious matter that it should have been priority by even giving us, through the chair, evidence of staff approved establishment. Where is it, Governor, through the chair?
Chair, this is, I'm happy that Senator Chergey is asking this question. This is a perennial problem that I just indicated earlier. And
from when?
And you said it very well. We were with you here when this crime was being committed.
But Governor, it's 2 years. You have
that's okay, and that's why I'm saying I have already done it. You will definitely get it, Mr. Chairman.
My chair, could I please?
Chair, Onyonga, just wait a little bit. I agree we were here together. But Governor, you have been in office for 2-3 years now, and you are still lamenting of what happened. And you know government exists in perpetuity. This is a simple exercise establishment of approved. And Governor, it is consuming 68% of your own. This is a serious issue. And this concerns about 55-70 of your employees. So my question is, in our recommendation, and in fact it is page 42 or 43, Chair, there was no approved staff establishment or organogram. So our concern, and that is why we wanted your county secretary to be here, because the two gentlemen seated in between you, we don't want to sacrifice you like Jesus Christ and leave Barnabas. What we are saying is very simple. This is a simple thing, Governor. Just show me and tell me, here it is, I will open, read it, and be satisfied.
I'll provide it.
Is it there?
Chairman, I think I've said that it's not in that document. I will definitely make sure we are provided to the Senate.
But it has been done, so
it has been done.
Place. So, Chair, if we can see that the staff establishment, you can give a ruling on the number of days.
Okay, we can give direction. Senator Onyonka?
I just wanted to say that, Chair, as I sit here as a Senator of Kisii County, we don't have either an HR audit which would show, and indeed Kisii is not a unique case, but I believe that anybody sensible would have made a decision to either do biometric registration, do an audit, because as I said, there were 2 audits done and they costed quite a bit, close to 10 million. That has not been shown. There is no staff establishment provided for so that you can know whether the numbers we are talking about do exist or not. So I would like to say that, Chair, with a lot of humility, I would want us to leave the discussion of this matter until all the data and information is provided to this committee. Otherwise, we accept the position of the Auditor General, and that is that there's nothing the county government has done as an executive to rationalize or plan on what is supposed to happen for the employees of the county government. Thank you.
Now, Governor,
Chair, on what my senator just mentioned, that there is no HR audit, I wonder if he has been even in this committee. When I made a report,
Governor, that's exactly where I'm going. That's exactly where I'm going. On 22nd of May 2023, when you appeared before this committee, to discuss similar issues, you reported to us that the county executive has procured a firm to undertake an audit of its human resource, and the exercise was ongoing. The exercise was expected to conclude in May 2023. So we were having the meeting in May, and when you appeared before us, you indicated that there was some work in progress. The conclusion and resolution of the committee was that the governor to appear before the committee in 30 days after conclusion of the ongoing audit. 30 days after the conclusion of the ongoing audit. So did this audit take place, and has it been concluded, and are there results? The one you referred to at our last meeting.
Chairman, audit was done.
Concluded?
Completed. And I believe, if my memory keeps me well, we must have submitted that report. Unless, if it's not there, again, I will...
No. The requirement was, really, the requirement was not for you to submit it. The requirement was, once you are done with the audit, because you are conscious that there was something going on, and so we could not make conclusive recommendations. So we said, go complete your audit, and then after 30 days, after conclusion of your audit, we shall re-invite you to give us an update. Now, I raise this to allow us to be orderly in the manner in which we proceed. If you can confirm that the audit was done, the audit was concluded, then what we need to do is to schedule a meeting to discuss the findings and recommendations from the audit. Is that fair?
That's okay, Chair.
And that's why I started by saying that really that is what you should have put on your response. That is specific. It is measurable. You know, but when you just say that we are taking measures, it does not tell us
Chair,
much.
I want to confirm that the audit was done, and we have the whole report. Any time that you need us before you, we'll provide it. We'll go through it so that you can be able to ascertain how many people went out and the savings from there, where did they go to? Why are we at 68? That one, Chair, we are ready to provide all that information.
So I think we would agree then that at 68% of total expenditure, this is a matter that requires special focus, a special inquiry, and perhaps a special audit. And which firm undertook the audit? if you can recall. Was it OAG or a private sector player?
No, it's government of entity, that's IHRM.
IHRM.
Yeah.
So, members, we could create a date and an appointment where we will be looking at that report and then comparing it with your financial statements. Because as I asked earlier, if you have taken some proactive measures, it should reflect on the bottom line. But if it's still going up, then it tells us that something is wrong.
Chair, again, it's important that you mentioned of 600 million. If you cumulatively, you'll be able to calculate what ACDs and the promotions actually could be more than 600 million that has been consumed inside there.
Is that explanation before us?
We can provide it, Mr. Chairman.
Again, you see where my problem is? Because it's easy to say 600 million was because we resolved issue number 2. There was an issue there where people are getting below minimum payment. And your officers should be able to compute and illustrate that. In fact, Governor, now you're starting to operate like a certain gentleman that I know, who does not allow anyone to advise him, who hires advisors and ends up advising his advisors. You cannot be like that guy.
Do we know that gentleman?
You shouldn't be like that guy.
Do we know that?
Are your officers advising you?
And that is why I
Are they helping you?
That is why I ask you a question whether is the officers fear him. And he didn't
Surely,
answer.
your CECs should have more data, more information than you do on technical basis.
Yeah.
And that's why I said your role is policy and politics. Theirs is technical. So please.
Oh, you're afraid you know more than them.
Allow your advisors to advise you.
Or advise them on how to advise you before you come here.
Don't be like that
before
guy.
you rule on HR so that we pick a date. And Governor, make sure as the chair has ruled, provide us with many information because your county is so unique that it has the highest above Nairobi. I've told you Nairobi is 56. You are now saying you'll approach 73. So make sure this issue of HR is addressed because if you don't address us, as a Senate, we'll invoke Article 225 of the Constitution, where we'll recommend that Kisii County does not receive any funds, because this is a direct affront to the Constitution and the law. So I hope I don't know why Chairman is today magnanimous. He has given you a time where you will come back and provide more information so that this matter can be resolved. We want the people of Kisii to get employed and also to get drugs in hospital. We want people of Kisii to get employed and also to get good roads. So that is why the law is there. So, Governor, I request you that now that the chair has given you this lifeline, please provide us with all the necessary information so that we don't need to invoke Article 225 of the Constitution. I think, Chairman, I agree with you that we pick a date on how we can address this issue of wage bill so that we can move forward. I thank you.
Chair, I would also be interested to get the findings of the report because all of us are having this conversation and discourse whether devolution is working for us or our counties maybe are too small and unviable. And if you collapse them and have maybe bigger entities, then it will be better. Our counties just employment bureaus, and just living maybe for your case now would be having like less than 20% for development. I would really be interested because as a new model of governance in Kenya, would be wanting to know the challenges. We need moments of reflection on what is working and what is not working. So I think that report would really be good in terms of informing us on the best practice, maybe on employment and doing HR audit. Otherwise, that situation is dire in Kisii.
So, in line with what we had discussed earlier, clerks, let's prepare the list of shame. I'd already presented that to the Senate. When I was moving the report, I referred to the fiduciary risks report, where we said that 16 county governments spent more than 50% of their revenue on wages and benefits. And I think we listed the counties that were in that space. Kisii is the highest, followed by Mombasa, followed by Elgeyo Marakwet, Nyeri, Nairobi, etc. we must take a report to the House on how to deal with these counties that are at 50%. The law requires 35%. In fact, we probably should take a baseline and maybe say 40%. The report of PBO focused on those at 50%. Let's send a list of shame to the House. Let's move the House to consider Article 225 that Senator Cherargei has talked about. Article 225 provides for stoppage of transfer of funds where there's a persistent material breach of the law, and to be at 68% against 35%, there is no greater definition of persistent material breach of the law. But before we take the motion to the House, we allow the counties to come and present the measures that they are taking, so that by the time we reach the conclusion that the CS Treasury should invoke Article 225, at least you have had an opportunity to be heard. I think, honorable members, that's a good approach. Governor?
Chair, I think that's a good approach, but I want to categorically put it here. The county of Kisii has not employed. The only replacement I've done is the 48. It should go to record, Mr. Chairman.
We shall test it when you bring the detailed documents before us.
And Chair, we will definitely, with the help of the Senate, and I want to thank you guys, you are doing very good work in terms of fighting for resources coming to the counties. It's unfortunate that all this money goes into wage bill. Therefore, it's something that we need really to crack, not as counties, as a nation, as it were. Kisii has not become, what do you call it? Employment Bureau, and it won't. And that's why to date I could have done even 100. But I refused, Mr. Chairman, other than those replacements that I was making. Thank you.
Excuse me, Chair.
Yes, Senator?
Just a second. I completely hear what Governor is saying. But Governor, you know we are all human beings. Bring us the report. Once we have it, you can say what you say. But without that report, I don't listen to what you're saying.
Chairman.
Thank you.
Chairman, I want to say any politics, local politics, because everything we are hearing here is hearsays, as they were. Therefore, if again anybody has any facts against what we are saying, Mr. Chairman, also should be able to table from any quarter.
No, Governor, we have given you the opportunity to present the facts. Yes. You have done an audit. So let's leave it at that point until we see the facts coming out of the audit report. I think we'll leave it at that. This committee does not process any other matter, the politics on the ground. Here we deal with the numbers. Now, Auditor, I am extremely concerned because I'm trying to see how much is going to development in this county. And the numbers are not adding up. Because if 68% is going to salaries, Senator Mwaruma had already mentioned that about 11% goes to the county assembly. So that's 79%. So I'm trying to establish what is it that remains for development. And yet, when I look at transfers to other government entities, which includes the county assembly, I'm only seeing 40 million having been transferred. Auditor, having looked at these financial statements, and CEC, you will need to now tell us, at least this one you cannot toast to the governor. Did we report properly on transfer to other government entities? Because it can't be that only 40 million went to the county assembly.
Assembly, we do 1.05.
Your financial statements reflects 40 million.
I think that is, I don't know.
Well, it's your financial statements, CEC. Well, the CEC's overall is the one whose signature is on the forwarding page.
Chairman, those are transfers to CRF, Assembly transfers the co-director, and that year it was 1.1 billion. Thank you, Chair.
Sorry, just
the one
just say that
reflected on the FS are transferred to CRF.
What do you mean? But the note, you've got a note there that breaks down that transfer. And on note 4, transfers to county government entities, county assembly is 0, mortgage is 40 million. In fact, the only transfer reflected in your statement of payments and receipts is a 40 million for mortgage. How was the money that goes to the county assembly transferred?
Chair, I would want the accountant to report. Yeah, I think.
And let them refer to these financial statements. I don't want a story. These are
Chair,
the financial statements.
Chair, the current template requires that we report the monies that we receive from the CRF. So Assembly receives directly from the CRF, so we don't report their money.
Auditor General?
Yeah, Chair, that's the true position. In terms of that templates, you know, when you look at the CRF, and that's why we're also auditing the account assembly in terms of the fund they receive. But in terms of the development, again, we normally measure the total expenditure vis-a-vis the actual the developments. And that's why if you look in terms of the issue number 2, in terms of the fiscal and compliance with the fiscal responsibility, we are saying the total expenditure that's recurrent and the development is 8.4. But in terms of the expenditure for the development is 1.5 billion, representing 19%.
Now, Auditor, so if in this statement of receipts and payments, the money that went to the assembly is not included either as a receipt or as a transfer, what therefore ought to have been total receipts in CRF? Because that then becomes the base for determining this percentage. If the assembly received, you said 1.4? No, assembly, the transfer to the assembly. The explanation we are getting is that there is no transfer to the assembly here because it was transferred directly from CRF. Is that the position? So what were the total receipts and therefore transfers in CRF? Because 8.2 billion has been transferred here from CRF. You're saying 1.4 has been transferred from CRF to the assembly. Are we on the same page, Governor? That officer, what's the role of that officer? The one who has answered this question?
Chair, Ivan Skiage, in charge of financial reporting.
Correct. So what then should have been the total revenue for Kisii County Executive for that financial year?
Okay, for purposes of reporting, they have separated the executive and assembly. But if you wanted to report for the entire county, then it will be what we received as executive and what went to assembly.
So what is that figure? What is total revenue for Kisii? And remember, total revenue is defined in the PFM as equitable share, on-source revenue, and any additional allocations.
Yes.
So how much was it for Kisii in that financial year?
I may not be able to give the exact figures.
Don't you have your CRF account statement? Because
we didn't come with
it's not a figure in someone's head.
It is not
a figure
here.
in the CRF.
It is not with us, Chair.
Chair, it was 9.3.
It was 9.3.
Yes.
Auditor General, you can confirm that? Remember, this exercise is supposed to look at 3 reports, even though we are only interrogating 2, ROR and executive. But the CRF, being the source of everything, must always be on the table because it forms part of the conversation. Because, Auditor, the reason why I've asked that question If you take 9.3 as a base, our wage bill is 60%. If you take 8.2 as a base, our wage bill is 68%. Now you need to guide us. Remember, we asked that question at the beginning. What is a base? And Governor, for you to quickly accept that your wage bill is at 68%, your advisors should advise you on how that figure is computed. You have a financial advisor in the form of a CC on one hand, and the gentleman in glasses is in what role?
County Attorney.
County Attorney. You have here spent a lot of time saying that your wage bill is at 68%. But from my assessment, if you look at your total revenues, then it would go back to 60%. It's still bad, but it is not as alarming as 68%.
You're the one who came up with that 68. You remember you are the people who started with 68. I told you if it's 68, we may be going to 73. But again, by choosing of your words here...
Governor, no. It is your responsibility to say that the numbers we have are different. Now, if I didn't ask about what is in the CRF, I wouldn't have gotten this answer. 68 is on the basis of what was transferred from CRF to the executive against what was paid as salaries. By your clarification, which then even your advisors don't have, you are saying that your total revenues was 9.3. The wage bill is computed as a proportion of total revenues. So it's not like I put some words. You led us along that path. This is extremely untidy because if you cannot agree whether it's 68, 60, 64, OAG?
Yeah, thank you, Chair. As you said, in terms of the revenue base, there's that discussion whether we'll still add on source revenue to the base. Of course, if you add that, the percentage comes down. Again, in terms of even the wage bill, we also do the computation for the wage bill for the county assembly, which again, in terms of, and that's why we also look into the financial statements for the county assembly separately.
No, for county assembly, I have been of the view that that provision should not apply. It shouldn't apply because that should be, because when you report on the county assembly, you usually give reports like 80% was used on salaries. Of course, county assembly does not deliver services or development. But you must advise us on the base. You put 60%, we asked you, you agreed with us it was 68%. It is your responsibility to guide us.
But Chair, I don't know how we can leave out the all source revenue because in our discussions all through, and I think this is my 7th year on this in this Public Accounts Committee, if we leave it out, then the remedies undertaken in terms of increasing the all source revenue will either be here, not there. Otherwise, it should be the total revenues, shareable revenue, plus the on-source revenue. So that if we increase the on-source revenue, then the base increases and therefore the percentage comes down. The only discussion then maybe that would be remaining or is whether we would add grants, conditional grants. Where do they fall? If in a year we get grants, then we also add them as part of total revenues.
They all come to CRF. Anything that goes to CRF is defined as a revenue for the county. So, Governor, I think it would have helped your case if you are familiar with these numbers. You would have corrected us at the onset that it is not 68, it is 60%, and then you would have proceeded with that number in mind. So let's deal with the details Chair. When we convene that special meeting.
Chair, the advice again, rightly the way you put it, we could be even less than that 60% because you see what is happening is that KTRH, which consumes close to we pay actually, if we bring in their revenue and even report it, we could be around 10 billion. Therefore, that pushes that wage bill to below 60. But again, me, I knew very well out of your discussion, you came up because some people were reporting 41, we had 68. I picked it from there. Therefore, that was an oversight. I'm sure that we can be able to correct as we're going forward to get the correct figures. Because I've seen, Chair, it's not even 9.3, it's 9.45. That's the revenue.
So we want to, at our next conversation to have the CRF statement here. Then, Patrick, what the governor is referring to in their statement of receipts and disbursements under the receipt of revenue, hospital fees and public health service fees is 0. In the morning, CIA reported hospital fees and public health service fees in the ROR. Why are we not consistent? Because CIA collected 501 million on account of almost 300 million from hospital fees. Kisi has collected 502 million without including hospital fees and public health service fees. One of the two reports ought to have been queried. One is wrong. They can't both be right.
Chairman, I think this is something that we have to look at as OAG then, so that even when you are reporting, then you have a standard way of reporting. We cannot be reporting in one entity, then leaving out the other.
Before FIF, I think counties had leeway to report as on-source revenue. But now, because of FIF across all the counties, we must agree that whether FIF will be part of on-source revenue or not.
That will happen,
Chair, you know, we are in the process of learning. Learning is a continuous process. I agree with you that we reported there as 0 on issues of health. But at the moment, Mr. Chair,
yes, Governor.
Chair, only one facility, that is KTRH, raises 1 billion as we are talking right now, and is not reported. Leaving out the level 4s, which we have not reported again there. Therefore, we could be doing more than the 500.
Their revenue is not reported here.
It's not.
But is their expenditure reported here?
Yes. Because, Chair, all...
The expenditure is part of this compensation that we have here.
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah, so you see, that's when you retreat and you ask for these answers or you ask these questions to your officers, they should be able to paint for you a better picture. You remember I was not very happy to be discussing 68 with a potential of 73%. You know, that's a statement of impunity. We should have first gone to the numbers and say, wait a minute, we are not even 68, we are not even 60, we are probably 50-something. So your officers must be able to do that analysis for you and tell you, this is CRF, these are the other funds that are excluded from CRF by legislation of the County Assembly. Because I believe that the facility funds are not swept to CRF, are they? Yeah. They are excluded by an act of the County Assembly. So we must put together all these funds, all this revenue, no, but if they are excluded, their expenditure should also be reported in those other funds.
Chairman, so that then you have fair reporting. We cannot say the financial statements are true and fair if we exclude the revenue from those hospital fees and then include the expenditure here, Chairman.
Yeah, that collapses your argument. This thing requires,
And that is why we needed people who signed off the financial statements. Because if they were here, it would have been more clarity, because you can see CCM is not even aware.
So the end result is that where we have reached, we are not sure what percentage is spent on wages in Kisii County. We cannot say with certainty that this is a percentage. Can we?
No, I'm not sure, because the 68 was you are making, Mr. Chairman, with your team.
The 68 is the numbers that are here. It is not. Governor, you know, when you say it's our making, you make it sound like we can. Can you withdraw that? Because 68 was on the basis of total receipts. Order, Governor.
Chair, can you see the governor is pointing at me?
Governor,
Governor,
order.
Also pointing a finger at me.
Order.
And apologize.
Governor, I don't want it to appear as if we are making up numbers. The 68 is based on total receipts of 8.2 billion versus total payments of 5.6 billion. That gives you 68%. It took our effort to find out what else is in CRF. It took our effort for you to realize that there is FIF, which is not included in the 8.2. So please do not create that impression that we have come up with a number. If we wanted to push that number, we would not have asked the subsequent questions that are now pushing the percentage down. So to avoid a lengthy back and forth, let us have that conversation, and it is now urgent, because you can't have a situation where a county cannot authoritatively say that this is our percentage that we are spending on employees. So clerks, let's prioritize that. Out of the list of shame of the counties, let Kisii be the first, because they have the bigger ratio compared to the other
and
counties.
the governor to withdraw and apologize for saying the committee manufactured 68%. Yet it is something on record. Can he apologize and withdraw, and also withdraw the finger that he pointed at me?
The problem with the governor is that he's pointing with one hand and smiling with the other. So I'm not sure which body language to take. And I think that is even how he sorted out Didymus. He was smiling and assaulting somebody.
In Kibra.
In Kibra.
Yes. So that is why I don't take his pointing lightly.
So stop confusing us with your body language. You are either smiling or you are pointing at somebody. Now, members, I think we need to bring this conversation to some conclusion. The wage bill has got about 10 related questions in the audit report, and they definitely remain unresolved. And we conclude by saying that the county executive of Kisii has got about 48 issues that they still need to explain to the Auditor General in the substantive audit. But this committee will do a further inquiry on the issue of the wage bill, because it is the biggest fiduciary risk facing Kisii County government. With that, we come to a close for today. We have not gone through issues as we would have expected, but I hope that in the next report we'll be able to do greater justice to the issues. But for the record, Senator, we have not cleared the 48 issues. They remain as they are. Our recommendations remain as was resolved by the Senate on the 27th of March. And if in the next audit cycle they are not resolved, then we shall refer to Section 51 of the Public Audit Act. Our legal counsel read out what that section entails and the action that Parliament can take if accounting officers fail to implement the recommendations of the Senate. I think it goes further. I think it's one of those cases where Parliament can declare someone unfit to hold public office. It's one of those very, very rare instances. So, Governor, I hope that you'll whip your team. You'll kick your advisors and tell them to advise you, because you hired them to advise you. I think there's some mismatch in information. Where you are at the top, policy, politics, even outside the, politics, I take notice you are the deputy leader of a political party. So there are some details that you must allow your staff and team to deal with and be the ones to respond, because they're the ones who will be held accountable. Do you have any matter in closing, Senator Onyonka? Vice Chair, Senator Sregeri?
Chair, it is sad that we could not conclude on these 48 matters, but since you have directed, it remains as they are. I wish when we appear on wage bill, we should have tested 1 or 2 projects, because I know wananchi would want to see brick and mortar so that they can see their money. That is how they know their money. So, Governor, I think now that you have been given a new lease of life, kindly make sure you provide that information so that, you know, this is the only place, Governor, let me say this with a lot of tremendous respect, that you have free airtime to showcase what you have done for Kisii people without anybody interrupting you. Unlike in matangas, in birthday parties, or any other forum, or in political contests. This is where facts and figures speaks for itself. So I hope next when we meet Governor, he should be able to put a test to a few projects in Kisii. And Governor, I don't know whether we should visit Kisii, because I saw our colleague on the streets when the Finance and Budget Kisii Committee visit. So you need to reassure us that when we visit Kisii, we shall be able to do our job without any interruption. If what we saw our colleague undergoing through, so we really want to visit some of these projects. And we hope when we visit, you will cooperate, so that, Governor, don't you think it is better for us to be on a project, you there with your team, led by Kajuang here, the chair, and all of us there, then we see and wananchi can see, so that we can take accountability to another level. Finally is that we are pushing for more resources, as you have said. Our prayers was counties to get 465 billion. There is a mediated